What if I told you that the lovable, freckle-faced boy who made America laugh in the 1960s was secretly crying when the cameras stopped rolling? Jay North, the adorable star of Dennis the Menace, wasn't just a TV icon. He was a real-life tragedy, hidden behind Hollywood's glittery curtain. While millions of kids dreamed of being in his shoes, Jay was living a nightmare. His story isn't just about fame, it's about survival. How did the most famous child star of his generation end? Broke, traumatized, and forgotten. Why did the industry that made him rich also destroy his childhood? This isn't just another celebrity tribute. This is the untold, heartbreaking truth about Jay North, the boy America loved, the man Hollywood abandoned, and the survivor who never gave up. Jay North was born on August 3, 1951, in Hollywood, California, a city that would both make him and break him. His big break came at just 8 years old when he was cast as Dennis Mitchell in the hit TV series Dennis the Menace, 1959-1963. The show was an instant success, making Jay one of the most recognizable child stars in America. With his cheeky grin, messy hair, and mischievous antics, he was the perfect Dennis. Families gathered around their TVs every week just to watch him, but while audiences saw a happy-go-lucky kid, the reality was much darker. Jay later revealed, "I was just a little boy, but I was working 12-hour days. I didn't have time to play or go to school like normal kids." Unlike today, where child actors have strict labor laws and tutors on set, Jay's era had no protections. He was expected to memorize lines, hit marks, and perform like a seasoned actor, all while still in elementary school. Jay's life was tightly controlled. His family managed his money, which he never saw, and the studio demanded he always be on. One slip-up, and another kid could replace him. In an interview, he confessed, "I was always scared. One wrong move and I'd lose everything." When Dennis the Menace ended in 1963, Jay was only 12 years old, but Hollywood had already moved on. Casting directors told him, "You're too recognizable as Dennis. We can't see you as anything else." He tried to transition into other roles, but the industry typecast him. Unlike Ron Howard or Jodie Foster, who successfully moved from child stardom to adult careers, Jay was trapped in the shadow of Dennis. Child stars in the 1960s rarely saw their earnings. Jay's parents and managers controlled his finances, and by the time he was an adult, almost nothing was left. "I made millions, but I ended up with nothing," he said in an interview. To survive, he took odd jobs: security guard, truck driver, even a carnival worker. The boy who once had America at his feet was now struggling to pay bills. Years later, Jay revealed something even darker. He was abused as a child, both at home and in the industry. "I wasn't just working like an adult. I was treated like property," he admitted. No one protected him. No one spoke up. The same people who profited from his smile turned away when he needed help. In the 1990s, Jay did something rare for former child stars. He spoke out. He became an advocate for child actor rights, pushing for better laws to protect young performers. "I don't want other kids to go through what I did," he said. Despite his struggles, Jay never lost his fans. At comic conventions, people lined up to meet him, telling him, "You were my childhood hero. You still are." For the first time in decades, Jay felt appreciated, not as Dennis, but as himself. Jay North passed away in 2023, but his story remains a warning and an inspiration. He wasn't just a victim, he was a fighter who refused to let his past define him. Jay North's story isn't unique, it's part of a disturbing pattern in Hollywood. From Macaulay Culkin to Gary Coleman, child stars often face exploitation, financial ruin, and emotional trauma. But what makes Jay's case different is how brutally normal his suffering was. Unlike Culkin, who later found success in indie films, or Coleman, who at least had some public sympathy, Jay was Q left in the shadows, too famous to disappear but not famous enough to get help. The industry used him, then discarded him when he was no longer profitable. And the worst part? No one noticed. While fans laughed at Dennis's pranks, the real Jay was fighting battles no child should ever face. Jay's later years were spent trying to warn others about the dangers of child stardom. He spoke at events, gave interviews, and even worked with lawmakers to push for better protections for young actors. But the question remains, has anything really changed? Even today, child stars like Millie Bobby Brown and Jacob Tremblay face immense pressure, scrutiny, and the risk of being typecast. Jay's life should have been a wake-up call, but Hollywood has a short memory. His story isn't just a tragedy, it's a demand for accountability. If we keep ignoring the dark side of child fame, how many more kids will suffer the same fate? The entertainment industry owes Jay North more than just nostalgia. It owes him justice. Jay North's life forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Society loves child stars, but only while they stay cute, obedient, and marketable. The moment they grow up or show human flaws, we turn away. Think about it. We cheered when little Dennis pulled pranks on Mr. Wilson. But did anyone care when the real Jay needed help with depression, PTSD, and financial struggles? This hypocrisy isn't just Hollywood's fault, it's ours too. As audiences, we consume these young performers' work while ignoring the system that exploits them. The same public that made Jay a household name in the 1960s forgot about him by the 1970s, proving that child stardom is often a one-way ticket to obscurity. Perhaps the most heartbreaking part of Jay's journey is that he never truly got the redemption he deserved. Unlike some former child stars who eventually found success in directing, producing, or other ventures, Jay spent decades battling his demons in relative silence. Yet there's something profoundly inspiring about how he kept going, year after year, despite the odds. His late career advocacy work shows that even broken systems can't completely break the human spirit. Jay's legacy challenges us. When we see former child stars struggling today, will we scroll past their stories, or will we finally learn from the past? The entertainment industry might have failed Jay North, but we don't have to fail the next generation of young performers. What does it do to a child's mind to grow up believing their worth is tied to their ability to entertain strangers? Psychologists who've studied former child actors describe a phenomenon called identity foreclosure, when young performers never get to develop a true sense of self outside their famous roles. Jay North didn't just play Dennis the Menace. For years, he was forced to be Dennis, even when the cameras weren't rolling. Studio publicists would dress him in his TV costume for personal appearances, reinforcing the idea that his real personality didn't matter. This psychological conditioning helps explain why so many child stars struggle with addiction and mental health issues later in life. The cruel irony? The very qualities that made Jay perfect for the role, his natural spontaneity and authenticity, were systematically trained out of him by an industry that valued consistency over creativity. Jay's story should serve as a wake-up call to reform how we treat children in entertainment. While some protections like the Coogan Law, which safeguards a portion of child actors' earnings, now exist, they're not enough. We need comprehensive mental health support, mandatory financial education, and transition programs for young performers, aging out of their careers. Most importantly, we need to examine our own role as consumers. Every time we nostalgically binge classic shows featuring child stars, we're perpetuating a system that often harms the very children we claim to love. The next time you watch an adorable child performer on screen, ask yourself, are we being entertained by talent, or are we witnessing the exploitation of innocence? Jay North deserved better. Every child performer deserves better. And it's not too late to make that change. Jay's story forces us to ask, why does Hollywood chew up child stars and spit them out? How many other Jay Norths are out there? Broken, forgotten, and unheard. Should studios be held accountable for how they treat young actors? Jay wasn't just a TV character. He was a real person, a boy who deserved a childhood, a man who deserved justice. His life wasn't a sitcom. It was a drama with no happy ending, until we decide to change the script. What do you think? Should child stars get lifetime financial protection? Should Hollywood be forced to pay for the damage it causes? Let's discuss in the comments, because Jay's story shouldn't be forgotten again.